Welcome back, baseball fans, to the Eliminating Texas Ranger video. The Rangers played Seattle, didn't play them very well, went to Seattle with a 3-2 series lead, lost 2 straight, and didn't score in the last 15 innings of that series. Terrible. This is the stats. They're 6 games worse than they were a year ago, and they barely missed the playoffs. Well, they missed the playoffs this year, too, by a lot. Their all-stars were a rookie, Len Randall. What a great rookie performance he had. 50 hits, 329 average, 12 stolen bases. He could play second base and third base as a switch hitter. Nice little card for him. Nice little future for him. He also has a good year in 77 coming up. Has about 6 or 7 nice years for the Rangers and the Mets. But anyway, he did well. There's some nice batting averages here. Their team batting average is 20 points higher. But their team ERA is also about a run worse. Let's stick with the hitting for a little bit longer. Frank Howard, another 290 year, though the homers are down at just 7. Epstein still doing his stuff, double-digit home runs, and a 282 batting average. Jeff Burrows, 11 homer. Hargrove, you expect more out of him. And then there's the bottom half. Toby Harrah, very disappointing, by the way. 206. That's not going to cut it, even with a better card than his early years. As far as pitching goes, yeah, Pete Broberg, you see him at the top there. He really did pitch well, as I recall, every time out. Had a nice ERA. Solid card, really. Just doesn't pitch more than like 120 innings a year or something like that. Bosman did a capable job as the ace. The failures really were Paul Lindblad and Eddie Watt. Very talented relievers who just could not finish games very well. There's 7 saves, but there's also 7 losses, which is astounding that your 2 back-end guys lose 7 of your 21 games. That's ridiculous. And Jack Billingham lost 6. It's just a really strange finish for the Rangers. The ERAs are terrible except for Broberg. And now the Rangers, I mean, this collision between the Washington Senators and the young Texas Rangers needs to have a radical offseason. Things have got to change soon. Mixing the old guys, Burrows and Epstein, with a new guy, the old guys, Howard and Epstein, with the new guys, Hargrove, Harrah, and Randall's not working. So there is the stack of the Texas Rangers card. We're going to pull out their 71 players. And let's see, we'll do this by flipping them over because I can see the year here easily. There'll be 871 cards that will go away. And that'll leave us with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 other ones. And these are the 8 cards of 1971 that will be put away, and then we need to find out what the Rangers are going to do with them, those players, moving forward. So let's see who's coming back next year for this Washington Ranger Texas Senator collaboration here. 7 hitters and 5 pitchers is your average split, but they're heavy with offense. It's 9 and 3, so they only have to take 3 hitters in the draft. They got to really build a pitching staff, though. So this 9-player offense better be good. So we have Dave Rader can catch, and we have Hargrove at first. We have Dave Nelson who can play second base. Len Randall's at third. Toby Harrah's at short. You've got Burrows and Grieve in the outfield. You have Epstein at DH, and you have Bernie Allen as an extra infielder. Well, I mean, you know, you've got assets, but you've got the 72 Mike Epstein asset here, which you might want to think of trading to somebody besides Oakland, because he's a great card, but he's kind of clunky here because you got Hargrove at first base taking his position. Your outfield defense is terrible with these 2 guys, and you had Frank Howard playing there last year and Tony Gonzalez, so you really should get an athletic outfielder and maybe trade Epstein for that or draft one. That's a lot of positions. That's 9. And then the 3 pitchers coming back, and you need an 8-man staff. Well, 2 are left-handed, which is good news because lefties are hard to find, and they're pretty decent. This Mike Paul guy's a good starter 7. Was a Ranger with a 2.17 ERA. He'll come back next year. That's a great card. He lost the final game of the year for the Rangers, but still, that's a nice card. Riddleberger's a good lefty reliever. All you're really concerned is can you get lefties out, and you try not to let them get knocked around over there. And you still have Eddie Watt, who had a terrible year with a great card with Baltimore in 72. Baltimore's pitching staff was arguably better in 72 when they missed the playoffs, as their offense was horrible. But anyway, Ed Watt, he should be good. So they have quality in pitching, but it's not quantity. So now, let's take the first look and see what do the Rangers do with those 8 other guys. Okay, now we're looking at here the 8 players and see who's being kept, waived, and retired. We're going to start with Dave Duncan. And Duncan was an Oakland. You see him wearing an Oakland here. So the fact that the Rangers have possession of Duncan is a good thing because the idea is keep him away from the Oakland A's. He's an all-star in 71 with Oakland, though he wouldn't get a World Series ring. He would have gotten one in 72 with them. Then he goes to Cleveland and then Baltimore. So in this scenario, that all-star year, a 726 OPS. He's really not that good with Oakland anyway. He's a little bit better with Cleveland with a 728 OPS. In any event, we talked about the offense of this team. They have 9 guys. They don't really need Dave Duncan to be their 10th, 11th, and 12th. But for the moment, what we'll do is, because he's decent, but not their property, we'll make him a keeper. You know, and ideally, we'd like to find, hopefully, 5 guys better. 4 guys better. The next guy is Tony Gonzalez, who, I gotta put his first name in here. He played from 60 to 71. Now, I could just stop right there. I know he has to be retired, but we'll take just a quick look at his career. Tony Gonzalez was with the Phillies, and now his career is over. Was on the MVP in 63. Nice year for the Phillies, but he is done. So Gonzalez is on the retired list. 2 players down. Frank Howard. So Frank got an MVP. I gave him an MVP a few years ago with a 69 card. Has always been good for me in Strat. He's getting up there, 58 to 73. He's got a couple years left. They weren't with the Senators or the Rangers. I think he goes to Detroit. And so he was still an all-star in that 71 all-star game in Detroit as a member of the Senators with the card we just used. But in 72, he splits time with Texas and Detroit. And he still has some thump. In 73, he might even be better. Yeah, 73, he's a little bit better. 789 OPS with Detroit. You know, I don't even know if Detroit even wants him or they need him, because they're going to have Willie Horton to DH. They got Al Kaline, they got Mickey Stanley, they have Jim Northrup. So I don't even know if Detroit wants him. I'm thinking what they might want to do is trade somebody. Right now, I'm keeping him. He's still a productive player. I'm not going to kick him to the curb or kick him out of the organization. Let's just keep these guys for now. Again, we're not making any final decisions here. We're just kind of like the exit interview. There's a long off season for these guys. Dick Bosman's next. Rather interesting career I have set up for him, because I had him. This has been a really curious thing that I did. So 69, you put this year together, and then I had the Reds go and get him. Cincinnati went and got him last year with a 70 card, so he could pitch on 3 days rest right over here. And he did pitch for the Reds, and they won the World Series. He didn't pitch very well, but he still won a World Series. Then the Reds cut him. And so then the Rangers picked him back up here with this card we just used. And so now he doesn't pitch on 3 days rest anymore. We have these years. And I think He's got a nice year, what is in 75 with Oakland. Boy, these Rangers have a lot of Oakland players, do they not? So 72, he's okay. 74, he's with a different team. For now, let's keep him as well. I mean, this is a bad Texas team. Well, you want to keep as many guys as possible so you're not stuck. And then, if you have too many, then you can start making some deals. All right, next up is Jack Billingham. Boy, this is a trading organization. They've got parts. They've got misfitting parts all over the place. So Jack Billingham was an Astro. Of course, we know he gets some hardware with the Reds. Here he is with the Dodgers, Houston, then Cincinnati in 72, joining Joe Morgan there. Then, of course, 75 and 76, he gets some World Series rings, even though his ERA is above 4. He's just a curious member of that team who probably falls under the radar, I'm going to guess. Statistically, as far as Cy Young goes, he has 73 and 74. He's got some good... Leads the league in starts and innings pitched and complete games with a 120 whip in 73. He's also good in 72. Both years with Cincinnati. He's definitely a keeper because of the talent, but he's also a better trade chip. So right now, the Rangers are going to have to work these phones in the offseason. They might want to trade all these guys. So they want to trade Billingham. They want to find a taker for Duncan and Howard, and perhaps Bosman as well. 3 guys to go. Next guy, this could be a little bittersweet here. It's Pete Broberg. We used a 71 card. He did very well with it. And actually, statistically, his 71 card is very good for the Rangers. Let's go take a look at that. Right there, 3.47 ERA, 124 innings, 125 whip. His ERA starts to go up a little bit here, 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 and here. But he does pitch on 3 days rest for the Brewers. He qualifies for waivers. You're kind of stuck with this guy here. It's just okay at best for a young team. And we already have 4 keepers that we... Oh boy, this team has really got a lot of loose parts here. It's very hard to figure out who's coming and going. I'm going to say Broberg should be on waivers for now. I can always put a question mark there. Because you're sort of locking yourself into the 75 card, which is his best year, maybe. You know, it's just not really worth protection, is what I want to say, in a nice way. You see what I mean? I'm gonna get rid of the question marks. You can still get this guy off of waivers, or find him in the draft, or find guys like this in the draft. There's no reason to keep him. All right, we got 2 players left. Bill Gogolewski. I wonder if I type in Gogo, how many guys come up? Just him. From 70 to 75. 6'4", 190, big dude. All right. Skinny dude. All right. So we had the 71 card, and it played very well, the 121 whip in Washington. He does go to Texas with a new team, and he's okay. He's like Broberg. He's okay. There's nothing really special about him. Perfect candidate for waivers because he pitched in 72. The guys who are the Rangers' property, they want to put on waivers, and the guys who aren't the Rangers' property, they want to keep. And frankly, that's probably a good strategy for a team that wasn't very good in this timeline. When does Billy Martin show up? Is it 74? 73? Who's managing the 73 Rangers? They lose 105 games with Whitey Herzog and then Billy Martin. But I think it's 74 where the Rangers do pretty good stuff. Yeah, there it is. 74 Rangers take off with Billy Martin winning 84 games. So we already have Len Randall from that team. Let's see. Oh, they get Fergie Jenkins. They bring up Jim Sun. That's right, Jim Sundberg's. We don't need Dave Duncan. Jim Sundberg's coming down the line. There's Hara. There's Burroughs. There's Len Randall. There's Hargrove. Steve Folkhouse becomes a good closer. Jackie Brown. They eventually end up with Tovar, Alex Johnson. Fregosi, they don't really need Fregosi. He wasn't there very long. I don't know if the Cubs are going to want to part with Fergie Jenkins. Fergie is still under contract with the Cubs for a few more years, so they might delay that. But certainly Sundberg should probably be promoted from that 74 team. All right, let's get back to the final player, which is Paul Lindblad, another Oakland guy, another guy with Oakland connections. The Rangers, this is really the key to the Oakland dynasty. How do baseball club general manager of the Texas Rangers, how do you put this all together so that your division rival Oakland A's don't win 3 consecutive World Series? You possess an A in Dave Duncan. You possess Mike Epstein, who's an A. You possess Dick Bosman, who played for the A's a little bit later, though. And now Paul Lindblad. You see him with an Oakland hat here. He was a big member, joining Fingers in the Pen. Nice long career from Kansas City A's. Actually, it's funny. He was a Kansas City and Oakland A. Then suddenly, he's a Senator in 71, but he's in Texas in 72, and then back with Oakland in 73. What a curious journey. I'm looking at this line right here, and it says Texas 72. I'm holding on to him. I am darn tootin' not going to give him to the Oakland A's. So if I'm Oakland, 66 appearances in 72, that's my guy there. So Lindblad, he's a keeper now. Exclamation point there. I'm going to put 72. And that means that it's fair. I mean, he was with Texas. He wasn't on Oakland 72, so I would take him. And I'd get rid of Billingham in a trade, since, he's more valuable to, like, the Reds. So Lindblad, Bosman, Howard to be the full-time DH, trade Epstein for an outfielder, and maybe trade Dave Duncan since Jim Sundberg's coming up. But, boy, the Rangers have got to be busy. They got to figure this thing out. And one of the most important things they should be doing is don't give anything away to the Oakland A's. It's going to be hard enough for Oakland to match what they did, winning 3 straight World Series in my carryover league, because there's more parity between the entire league. There's 32 teams, and it's hard to win in this league. So the Rangers have the cards, and they can keep them out of Oakland's hands. So there's that. That's it for this Eliminating the Rangers video. Hope you're enjoying seeing the ins and outs of how the league is set up. Thanks for checking this out, and we'll see you next time.